Have you ever thought you just had to have something, but then you got it and realized maybe I didn't need it so much after all? Well, the same can happen in the world of baby registries. And today we're going to dive deep into the world of registry checklists and figure out what's really essential. Nowadays, it's hard to figure out if somebody's really trying to help you or if they're just trying to sell you something. And baby registries are no exception. It's hard to find any sort of registry checklist that's unbiased. 9 times out of 10, if you read a blog, it's probably sponsored by somebody. Or if you see an example checklist, it might even be from a particular brand that's just trying to sell you their products. So today we are going to check out Target's registry checklist. Since Target is like the #1 baby registry, I figure what better place to start, right? So what we'll be doing today is taking a brief overview of the things that Target says are essential on their registry checklist and figuring out, is this something that is absolutely necessary, nice to have, or just fluff? So let's get started. So when you're on Target's website setting up your baby registry, they break it down into 12 different categories. Now, that seems like a lot to me, but when you consider the fact that Amazon's baby section literally has over 50,000 search results, it's paring it down. The first of their 12 sections is Strollers and Car Seats. Now, even this gets broken down further into 7 other sections to help you figure out just how to get your baby from one place to another. Now, if you're sitting there already overwhelmed like I am and I'm not even registering, let's just take a step back and think for a second. Basically, here's what you need from this section: a car seat and a stroller. And that's honestly about it. The way you purchase it is completely up to you. You could get a travel system, which is basically just a stroller and a car seat that are made to go together, or you can mix and match. As long as you have a car seat and a stroller that will connect, you're golden. Another thing that most car seats come with is a car seat base. I highly recommend that you register for a car seat base if it doesn't already come with the car seat that you're registering for. It makes it so much easier to get baby in and out of the car without having to mess with buckles and seatbelt straps and all that mess. Other than that, you don't really need much else. You could get a mirror so that you can see baby from your rear view mirror, but I'm pretty sure I saw something not too long ago saying that those are dangerous in case of an accident. What's not dangerous these days? Life is dangerous. Next is the gear and activity section. Basically, this consists of a hodgepodge of things. It starts off with baby carriers, which allows you to wear a baby, walk around freely, but you don't have to have your stroller being lugged around. I personally love baby carriers. All my boys have loved them as well. It's a chance for you to be hands-free and for baby to connect with you all in one. One thing I would suggest though is if you're registering for a baby carrier, make sure that it has a waist strap as well, just because the very first one I had only wrapped around my shoulders and it just about killed my back every single time. At least if you have the waist strap as well, it takes a little bit of pressure off your lower back, because your back is your friend. You want it to last as long as possible. The next thing in this section is a play yard, also known as a pack and play. Again, not absolutely essential, but nice to have. If you travel a lot, or even if you want to just have baby sleep in another area of the house that's not your bedroom or their bedroom, it's nice to have. I registered for one and I have not regretted it a single moment. The one that I registered for also came with a little detachable napper, and that's actually what my baby slept in for the first 1 to 2 months of their life, so that I could have them next to me in my room. And it was easy enough to, again, take them around. If you're doing laundry, you can have them sleeping in the living room while you fold clothes, whatever you need it for. I really liked that added feature that came along with my pack and play. The next section in this category is bouncers and rockers. Now, this category in general, I would say is absolutely not necessary. Everyone has a different experience, but none of my boys liked bouncers. None of them. I can't tell you how many times I tried passing this one bouncy seat to all my 3 boys. Not a single one of them liked it. Your baby might be different, but this is one of those items that's kind of more of a wait and see item. If you see that you don't have something that can keep your baby entertained, maybe try to borrow a friend's bouncy seat and see if your baby likes it. If they do, you can invest in one for your own, but I would hold off. Next in this category is a swing. Now this one my boys absolutely loved. Is it essential for life? No. It was definitely nice to have though. Now the one that I had was a swing and a separate seat all in one. So if I needed my baby to be in another room with me, then I could just pick up the seat and walk around. Same concept as the napper that came with my pack and play, but in seat form. Next is an activity gym or a play mat. Again, not necessary. It is fun to have so that they have lights to play with. It's a good place for tummy time. If you saw my last video, you'll know why I just had a flashback. But it's just something nice to have. Not essential, but nice to have. Next one, again, I don't think is necessary at all. It's walkers and entertainers. None of my boys ever really used their walker, and honestly, it just got in the way. It was bulky, and even the ones that can fold flat are still really clumsy and just, yeah. Kids have been learning to walk without walkers for thousands of years. I think yours can manage too. Next is nursery furniture. Now obviously, depending on the size of your house, the space you have, this whole category is really going to be mix and match. The first section of this is Bassinet and Co Sleepers. Depending on your personal preference, if you're going to do co-sleeping, if you're going to have a bassinet on the side of your bed, this might or might not be necessary for you. Bassinets for the side of the bed are really nice, but you have to think they're not going to last forever. So if you're going to register for something like that, always have a backup plan. If you're wanting that, you have your heart set on it, then just try to find an option that's not too expensive, because anything that is not purchased for you, you will have to purchase yourself. That's why registering for gift cards is a big plus. So bassinet, bedside sleeper, not required at all. It could be nice to have though. Crib. This one is essential. You definitely want a space for the baby to sleep that's not your bed or a little bassinet next to your bed. So whether you have a whole room dedicated to baby or if they're going to be sharing a room, you still want them to have a nice crib of their own. Obviously with that comes a crib mattress. So you'll definitely want to register for one of those along with the actual crib. Now, if you're one of those types of people that really likes matchy-matchy furniture for the nursery, you got to get a dresser as well. But there are lots of affordable options that are just as good as a $600–700 dresser. So think in advance what your budget is if it's not purchased for you. I always had to think about that. If you don't have the space for a full-blown dresser, then try to find a changing table that has drawers. That's what we did. Actually, our changing table is not technically a changing table. It's like a small cabinet that's got a little door and some drawers in it that we put a changing pad on top of, and it works just as well. Next is a changing pad. If you have a changing table in your room or you have a dresser that you're going to change baby on, definitely register for a changing pad and at least 2 changing pad covers. I recommend the ones that have the vinyl in the middle, not necessarily the cloth kind, just because if you have an explosion from a diaper, cloth is just nasty to clean. The last thing in this section is a glider or a rocker. Again, nice to have, but not essential. We had one at one point, but it never really got used, so I don't think it's necessary. You can just as easily sit with baby in a recliner or just anywhere on the sofa. You can make it work. Again, people have survived without gliders for thousands of years. Moving right along, nursing bedding and essentials. If you've got a crib, you've got to have a crib sheet, right? And I recommend having at least 2 crib sheets. That way, if one is dirty, you have a replacement. Now, crib mattresses these days, a lot of times are made of a slick material. They're not usually cloth. So crib pads are debatable for me. Not specifically required, but they can be nice to have. I personally have had one and have not had one, and I don't think they're necessary. If you have a crib mattress that's a slick material, you can very easily wipe it down. Blankets obviously are essential. I highly recommend getting a variety of blankets between swaddlers, thick fleece blankets, and just a nice light blanket in case it gets warm. And if you've got laundry, you definitely need a laundry basket. Could be expensive, could be cheap. You could just combine baby's clothes with yours. It's completely up to you. Hangers are nice to have. Baby hangers, I think I've used the exact same set with all 3 of my boys. Mobiles for over the crib, not necessary. Again, it's a fun little distraction, but it's not really going to add anything to the nursery that's missing. And that's about it for that section. Next is feeding. The first thing on here is a high chair. Now, oh my goodness, there are so many different types of high chairs. It's absolutely insane. From these grandiose things to these tiny little fold-out ones that you can just plop down on one of your dining chairs. There's even convertible ones that go from being a full-blown high chair to just a booster seat. Again, it's up to you. Is a high chair necessary? Yes. Right away? No. You'll need a high chair more around the 4-month mark, and by then you can kind of figure out what kind of space you have, what you really need. It's completely up to you. Bottles. Are these necessary? Absolutely. Whether you're breastfeeding or formula feeding, you will always need bottles. I recommend getting a box set that comes with small 4-ounce bottles and a couple 8-ounce bottles. We've used, again, the same set of Avent bottles that we got with my first son. It came with a bottle brush, it came with a pacifier, and it came with like 4 4-ounce bottles and 2 8-ounce bottles, and we still use those things. So definitely register for those. The kind that you get is completely up to you. Dr. Brown's, Avent, whatever kind of fancy ones you want. Playtex, is that right? The ones with the little bottle liners. We've used all those. But it's up to you what kind you get, but you definitely need to register for some. And then there's a whole section devoted to just extra nipples for bottles. A whole section. Like, why? After that is bottle warmers. Now, I never used a bottle warmer because I just didn't want one. It wasn't because it was necessary, unnecessary, I had a thing against them, none of it. It's just, I didn't think it was necessary. And it's not, honestly. We've even just run the bottle under warm water before in the sink, and it's just fine. Then there's stuff for cleaning your bottles. We have a bottle rack, like a drying rack. I definitely would register for one of those because you're going to be washing a lot of bottles and they need to be air dried. So you want to have a dedicated place for that. Formula. Now, if you're formula feeding, you already have a bit of an idea what you're gonna need, but if you're breastfeeding, then you're probably not thinking about formula. I know I didn't plan to use formula for my first son, but after breastfeeding didn't work out, I needed options. So even if you don't register for it, definitely keep your mind open about it. Burp cloths and bibs. You will definitely need these. Even if you don't go for the traditional burp cloths, I know some people use cloth diapers. That's what I have. Some friends made some cute little burp rags for me out of cloth diapers, and I still use them. And the other thing is bibs. Bibs are not just for feeding times. We have very spit-uppy boys, so all 3 of them have had to use bibs, not just to, clean up while they were eating, but also to protect me from having to change their clothes 20 times in a single day. It protects my sanity. Home food prep. Maybe you're one of those that wants to make your own baby food, and I am all for that. But is it necessary to have your own home food prep system? No. I have a baby bullet and I love it. But if you don't have the space for an extra appliance, a regular blender will work just fine. So is it necessary? No. Nice to have? Yes. Sippy cups. Sippy cups are not really something that you're gonna need until your baby is closer to a year old. You can register for them if you want, but it is not at all necessary in my opinion. Another thing in this section is bowls and utensils. Whenever you hit that milestone of baby being able to eat solid foods or mushy foods or whatever, you'll need a plate for them to eat, bowl. Also a good thing for future feeding needs would be baby spoons. There's the fancy kind that glow white whenever food is hot. There's also just the plain old plastic ones, or you can use your own silverware that you already have at home. And that is it for this section. Next is nursing. Breast pumps are awesome for breastfeeding. And you can usually get those for free with your insurance. If you don't have insurance, you can even get it through Medicaid. That's what I did. If you're nursing bras, nipple pads, cream for all those painful breastfeeding sessions, no, milk storage bags and all that good stuff. Our next category, diapers. You will never have enough diapers because the poop just keeps coming. I know some people that really prefer cloth diapering. I know absolutely nothing about it, so I'm not even going to attempt to talk on that subject right now. But I have always done disposable diapers for my boys. And I've never been one of those people that was like, oh my gosh, I have to have this brand or nothing else. All I know is the brands that didn't work for my boys, but I know other people who can use those brands. So it's completely up to you. It's completely based on what your children need. So we always stuck to Pampers or a Pampers equivalent, which was the Walmart brand, Parents' Choice. They're good quality diapers and they are literally half the price of Pampers. So if you're not picky about the brand, I would highly recommend Parents' Choice. You save money and your kids still have good quality diapers. And when it comes to diaper sizes, don't go all out buying a ton of newborn size diapers. Newborn diapers only are really good for about the first couple weeks. At least that's how it was for my boys. And once they hit that hot top weight, or once their legs get bigger around than the diaper, you gotta move them up to size 1s. So if you're going to invest in diapers, don't register for a ton of newborns. Register for more size 1s and up. Along with diapers, obviously you will need baby wipes. And again, we do the same thing, Parents' Choice. You can get a big box for, again, right around $11, $12 for like 800 baby wipes. That lasts about, maybe a week. Another good thing to have in the diapering category would be a portable changing pad. Nowadays, you can usually find a diaper bag that comes with its own matching changing pad. And if you like a diaper bag that doesn't come with a changing pad, they're not that expensive. So you can definitely find one in a reasonable price. Make sure whatever diaper bag you get is suited to your personal needs, but definitely register for one. Diaper Organization. A lot of times people will get those little organizers that hang on the side of their changing tables that have place for wipes and diaper stackers and all this kind of stuff. They're nice to have, not essential. I personally have all my diaper changing stuff in like a little basket. This next item is absolutely necessary. Register for diaper rash cream. Boudreaux's butt paste is the best that I have used. It is strong enough, but also gentle enough that it gets the job done. Baby wipe warmers. Are they necessary? No. I've never used a wipe warmer, honestly. Would it be nice to have warm wipes whenever I'm cleaning my baby's bottom? Yeah, but I also like my children to know the coldness of the world from a young age. Another thing that they have on here is baby powder. I have never used it. It is not necessary. You don't have to register for it. And that's it for this section. The next section is safety. So the first thing in here is a baby monitor. I definitely recommend registering for a baby monitor. A video monitor is really nice. Now, you can get one that has multiple cameras, but you really only need one because baby's gonna be with you most of the time. So all you need essentially is one camera and a video monitor so that you can be checking on baby while they sleep. They also have safety gates in this section. I have never registered for one. Depending on your house and the space you have, you probably don't need to register for one either. That's one that you can probably just wait and see. Pacifiers. These I would register for. Make sure you register for the nice silicone ones that almost just look like a bottle nipple. Those are the ones that babies tend to like more just because of the shape of them. Then there's child-proofing. I have used the exact same pack of plug covers for all 3 of my boys. You definitely want to register for those because once babies start crawling, they crawl everywhere. Thermometer. If you got one of those baby grooming kits, it probably came with a thermometer. I personally love the thermometers that read forehead temperature. The one that we have, it's a little digital one that we got at CVS, I think. It's basically the same thing that they use at the doctor's office whenever your baby's a little bit older and they just run it across their forehead real quick and it gives you their temperature. And last thing in this section is a shopping cart cover. Not necessary. I have one and I hardly ever use it. The next section is clothing and everything that comes with it. The very first thing in this section is laundry detergent. The main one that people like to promote is Dreft. I have never used Dreft. I know it's very safe to use. It's gentle for baby skin and everything. I've never used it. I always just make sure that I don't use a fabric softener on any of my baby's clothing. I use just regular laundry detergent. And then if I do happen to see a rash, then I can make adjustments. But I've never purchased Dreft personally. Bodysuits or onesies, definitely. If you want to register for a nice set of just plain white bodysuits, just know in advance that it's not going to stay white forever. It's going to get barfed on, it's going to get pooped on, and it's not going to be pretty. The more print you have on your onesies, the safer. And when it comes to sizing of onesies, don't register for a bunch of newborn stuff. They do not last. Just like the newborn diapers, your baby's going to grow a lot in a short amount of time, and that usually happens right at the beginning. So I recommend registering for size 0 to 3 months because they will last you longer, and that way you're not stuck with a bunch of clothes that your baby never gets to wear or only gets to wear once. The main sizes that I would focus on though are 3 to 6 months and up. I have so many clothes for size 3 to 6 months, but we've used all of them multiple times. So I would focus more on 3 months and up. As far as pajamas are concerned, I think the little snap pajamas are better than the zip ups. Nowadays you see a lot more of the zip up kind, but at least if you have the snaps in between the legs, it's a lot easier to change diapers without having to completely undress your baby every single time. Another essential baby clothing item is socks. I think socks are awesome. Since my boys were born in winter, socks were like really the only way to keep their feet warm. I don't advise getting shoes for babies that aren't walking because it's kind of a waste of money. I mean, yeah, they look cute, and if you want to buy shoes that look cute just because you want your baby to look cute, you're taking photos, whatever. It's up to you, that's completely fine. But just know that they're not really going to be worn, and they're kind of useless. But they are adorable. Don't hate me, please. This is just my own opinion. Hats, headbands, and mittens. Now, only one of my 3 children actually kept a hat on his head, so you can register for one if you want, but just know going into it that it might not stay on. As far as mittens, I do think those are good to have, but I wouldn't register for a ton of them. They actually make onesies nowadays that have built-in mittens. They're the little sleeves that fold over their hands, so that's a nice option. But whenever babies are really, really little, they do scratch their faces a lot. So I would register for at least a couple pairs of mittens just to be safe. And that's it for this section. Moving on to section 11, toys and books. Development toys, which these days means electronics. I personally do not like electronic toys because they are loud, they never stop talking, and their batteries die. So I recommend finding the most basic toys you can that stimulate your child's brain without doing all the work for it. Melissa & Doug is an awesome brand for that. They have so many amazing toys that have 0 batteries involved. Books. Definitely register for books. If you have a specific book in mind that you want for your baby, register for it. This is the perfect way for you to sit down and enjoy time with your baby. It stimulates their brain and it helps you bond with them as well. And you're never going to stop reading books. Baby's always going to be learning, always going to be taking in the world around them, and I think this is an amazing tool to use. They've got so many touch and feel books so that baby can learn textures. I just love books. I'm a nerd, so I love books. And the last section on here is parenting. And I don't really know that anything in here is absolutely essential. They've got things like vitamins, photo albums, video camera, point and shoot camera, parenting books. If you want one of those things, by all means register for it. But is it absolutely necessary for your baby registry? No. I know that this was a long video and I know we talked about a lot of different things, but I wanted to really break down what's practical, what do you absolutely have to have, and what's just nice to have. So I hope this was helpful for you, and if you have any further questions about specific items that I mentioned, maybe didn't mention, pop it down in the comments below and I will absolutely respond to your questions. If you have any other ideas for future videos or future topics, pop those in the comments as well. And if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do that. Hit like, turn on your post notifications, and follow us on Instagram as well. If you haven't done that yet, why not? So that's it for this time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.